people learn watercolor completely backwards, not in the techniques, but in what they pay attention to first. And that's why watercolor often feels unpredictable, like sometimes it works and sometimes it just falls flat. Watercolor works when you control relationships. If relationships are wrong, no technique will save it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean using this landscape reference, and by the end, you'll understand why some paintings work even when they're simple, and why others fail even when the technique is correct. Let's start with a quick demo from the reference. I wet the sheet and paint the sky and lake loosely. Very watery, very soft. Then I suggest distant mountains, also soft and diluted. Technically, this is correct watercolor. It's luminous, it blends nicely, the edges are smooth, but if you look at it honestly, something feels missing. Everything has the same softness, the same lightness, the same visual weight. Nothing stands out. And that's the key problem. The relationships are flat even for someone who's mastered the medium and the techniques. Now look at the reference photo again. What makes it beautiful isn't detail everywhere. It's not even complexity of color. It's the relationships between elements. The sky is soft, so the branches can stand out later. The distant mountains also appear lighter, so closer elements can feel deeper. And notice how light areas only feel luminous because darker ones sit nearby. And soft areas only feel soft because sharper ones exist somewhere else. That balance is what makes the scene believable and what no beginner lessons really focus on. But once you understand this and you're aware, then you know what to work on, and that's when your paintings start improving. So now I begin the real painting, and I don't change the subject or the tools. I'm just going to change how I build those relationships. I wet the entire sheet evenly with a flat brush, same beginning as before, because watercolor needs water to shine. That's why at first I mix indigo with a lot of water, and I lay down a very light wash in the sky and the lake. At this stage, I'm still respecting that soft foundation. But now, while the paper is still wet, I mix a slightly thicker version of that same color and drop it into selected areas of the sky and water. I'm not adding detail. I'm not switching colors. I'm simply adjusting the water to pigment ratio. That small variation already creates depth instead of one uniform wash. We now have lighter areas interacting with slightly darker ones. That's an example of relationship between values. I also add ripples in the water while it's still wet. This allows lighter and darker parts to meet naturally instead of creating hard separations later. Notice that this is not a new technique. It's still wet on wet, but when you're aware of the small variations you can add at that early stage and what you should do it, you can quickly improve how you paint. Just compare this to the first demo. The difference is obviously not skill level or not even time spent or a different color palette. It's the relationships. In the first one, everything was about the same, but here it's not. The sky is not one flat tone. The water is not equally pale everywhere. Some areas are slightly darker, some slightly lighter. And that sort of contrast creates structure. We don't even need detail. Another important thing, I'm working across the entire sheet. I'm not finishing the sky before touching the water. I'm thinking in layers across the painting. And that mindset alone changes watercolor results dramatically. When you think section by section, you risk treating each part as equally important. When you think in layers, you create better relationships naturally. So yes, techniques matter, but if you don't understand why you're using them, that's when things get hard. Anything that is not the main subject, like the dead branches in the water, I add early on and on wet as well if possible. That is intentional. When these shapes are added during the wet stage, they stay soft. They don't look like they sit on top of the painting later. Again, this is relationship control. The background elements remain discrete because they were introduced within the soft stage, just like those mountains. Notice the pattern forming again. At the beginning, a lot of water and very little pigment in the mountains. And as the painting develops, slightly less water and slightly more pigment. This is the true meaning of light to dark in watercolor. It's not only about value, it's about water control. The ratio gradually shifts. Less water, more pigment, and contrast increases. So the first core idea is this. Watercolor needs relationships from the start. Without variation, everything becomes one flat wash, even if the technique is clean. And in a base layer, you want to build that relationship with light, mid, and dark color values. And it's done by starting light and going a bit darker in the right places. So you can see now there's something much bigger behind the techniques. To use them effectively, you really need to understand how watercolor logic works. Now let's talk about where most paintings fall apart. Many people manage a wet and wet base just fine. The problem usually happens when there are a lot of details in the reference or the subject they're using, like the branches in the photo I'm using. In this second demo, I start with slightly less water and stronger pigment right away on purpose because it will make the painting feel tighter and busier. The color looks richer already. It might even feel more exciting at first. But then I continue using the same intensity everywhere. And problems start when I paint mountains with thicker paint immediately. Then I add another set of mountains with similar strength. It would be fine if they were just mountains, but the branches are in the foreground, and still I paint them with similar thickness. Then reflections with similar contrast. And then ripples with similar visual weight. And now you can see how everything competes because it's all the same. Nothing leads the eye. The painting feels busy and noisy, but ironically, it also becomes a bit flat. Not because it's too light this time like in the first demo, but because everything has the same strength. Can you see the pattern? This is again not a technique problem. As you can see, it's a relationship problem. There is no visual hierarchy. Because when foreground, middle ground, and background are treated equally, what could be interesting about a painting disappears. So we're going to return to the main painting and keep building relationships correctly. But first, let's address another imbalance. You've seen too light and loose and too rich and detailed. If I take that very first light and loose demo and suddenly I paint the branches thick, dark, and sharp on dry paper, the contrast becomes too abrupt, almost aggressive against all that softness. It's like the branches shout. There's no transition between background and foreground. And even though contrast exists between the two this time, it is so strong that the relationship is broken. What's missing is an in-between approach since relationships need bridges. Optional, but one way to do it could be to build a third layer of mountains that sits between the background and the focal points. This layer has more pigment than the distant mountains, but still enough water to remain softer than the branches will be. And I use two brushes, one to apply paint and a clean damp one to soften edges. That way, I avoid making these mountains tight or too perfect. If they were too sharp, they would compete with the branches later. Even on dry paper, water remains essential. That's what I'd like you to see. And I soften edges deliberately. Water is always part of watercolor logic. Without it, transitions feel artificial. So color intensity is one way to create a bridge, but so are edges. At this stage, I'm not even asking what detail I can add. I'm just asking myself whether anything feels equal where it shouldn't. If something is too strong, for example, I lift it. I wet the area I want to lift gently, and I use a paper towel to remove pigment. That's why I soften the horizon line, because I find it a bit too perfect and defined for something that's remote. Now I'm ready for the main subject, the branches, and you'll see even there we need water. Because I've respected color intensity restraint in earlier layers, I can afford to go darker here. So I use thicker pigment for a stronger contrast. The branches now pop naturally because everything before them was built to support that moment. Unlike my quick demo, I also try and make them graceful so they don't shout too much, if that makes sense. And I still soften some edges, especially where the branches meet the water, so they melt into the environment. The reflections also are lighter and imperfect on purpose. They explain what's going on, a tree sticking out of a lake, without stealing attention. All these are bridges between the background and those branches. If you look at the progression, you can clearly see a blurry background, a slightly clearer middle ground, and a defined focal point, and like I mentioned before, you don't even need the middle ground. We have the lightest values at the beginning, darker values are gradually introduced, and the darkest ones are reserved for the focal point. That's relationship control that we achieve with the help of techniques. Now comes a step that many people skip entirely, and that is scanning the painting for a balance between these relationships. The birds in the reference also help, I find, because they balance the composition, and a good composition is another type of relationship. So I add those birds carefully. I vary size and spacing. Those small differences prevent visual repetition, and again, making everything look equal when it shouldn't. I adjust value relationship by slightly darkening the base of the branches and their reflections to clearly show where the water surface is. Then I look at the foreground water. Feels slightly empty compared to the focal point, so I add a bit more paint. That's just personal choice. It would have worked if I hadn't. These are small adjustments that can improve a painting. Notice how the final result feels realistic but still loose. It works because of controlled relationships. Blurry where it should be blurry, sharper where it matters, lighter tones far away, darker ones for things that are closer or that need to catch the eye. So techniques themselves are not complicated. It is really the relationships that matter the most. That is the first thing everyone should learn about watercolor, not techniques. Once you understand this, watercolor becomes easier and less like a gamble because you know what you're doing, you understand it. Even the simple paintings work. So if you'd like to explore this approach more deeply and understand that watercolor logic and see how you can apply it across other subjects, I teach this step by step in my watercolor courses. You'll find the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.